All right, well, it says that I'm live. And I need to make sure that my stream is muted. I believe it's muted. Yeah. All right. And so today I want to take some time and actually do a suckless Debian install. Because, I mean, I've been seeing a lot of DWM coverage here lately, and it's mostly been all on Arch or whatever. And, you can do the same thing on Debian. So I kind of just wanted to showcase that and really just kind of see if I could do it and do it the Debian way. So I guess we can just go ahead and get started. I have the USB key already in the secondary machine. We're going to do a fresh install, and we're just going to set up DWM, ST, dmenu, all that stuff. So let's go. So here we are in the installer. So we're just going to go ahead and hit continue. United States, American English. And if you've installed Debian before, it's going to be much the same, because I'm just going to install everything without a desktop environment at all, and we're just going to install Xorg and all that kind of stuff and just do it the minimal, Arch Rice way. It's going to take me a little while to switch back and forth. I actually have a KVM set up for my mouse and keyboard to switch back and forth between the two different computers. So it may take me a minute to reply if you're talking in the chat or what have you. So anyway, hello. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. I'm just going to leave the host name as Debian. Domain name is going to leave it blank. I'm not going to create a root password, because if you don't create the root password, it will give sudo privileges to the first user that you create. So I'm just going to hit continue here. Full name of new user, let's do Mike, and I'm going to set up a password here that is strong and complicated and really like 6 characters long. And I'm in the Central Time Zone. And for this one, I'm going to use the guided method and use the entire disk. And sorry if you hear something in the background, my son's playing Xbox in the next room. And I have a 240 gig solid state drive in here, and I'm just going to use that as my root partition, or as my main install. I have a 4 terabyte hard drive as well, but that's already been formatted and everything. It's got games in there. So we're just going to format this, and we're going to go. All right. Hi, Bruce. I'm going to set up a separate home partition in this one. So let's just hit continue here. And what we're going to set up here, from what the automatic installer is going to do, it's going to say for my 240 gigabyte Kingston drive, it's going to have 1 meg of free space, 536 meg, and it's going to have the boot flag for my ESP. I'm going to have a 30 gig partition for ext4 for root, a 17 gig swap, and 192 gigs for home. It's not going to touch anything here, and the 128 gig Samsung flash drive is the install disk. And Sam, I actually just saw your comment. This one here, if we're doing the entire disk, if you scroll up, it's actually going to tell you exactly what's going on here. So if you go through the guided partitioning, it's going to be it should be fine, because you can actually go back and edit a lot of this stuff too. So if you hit go back and you have partition disks or detect disks, so you can go back during any point of the installation. Hi, Paulo. So, and this way right here is going to work just fine for me. So if you wanted to set this up with different sizes, let's say you wanted to have a larger ESP or a larger swap or a smaller swap or something like that, you can take this format here and do the manual partitioning in the same way, and it'll work just fine. So, and plus, I always like to see how it's going to be, how each distribution will automatically partition the disks out, because each one does it a little bit different. Because one thing that is unique to Debian, they will actually put the swap not at the end of the not as the last partition on the disk. I'm just going to hit continue here, and we're going to write changes to the disk. So sorry if the stream's a little bit rough, guys. I tend to edit my videos a lot because I do stutter a good bit, and yeah. So I'm going to stutter, I'm going to stammer, I'm going to make a lot of mistakes. So if you just bear with me, please. Hi, Walter. You haven't missed much at all. We've actually just got started. I'm actually still going through the Debian installer. Thanks, Walter. All right, so now it's time to configure our package manager. Right now, of course, I'm in the United States, so that's kind of an obvious answer. Deb.debian.org is usually what I always choose. I either choose this one or I choose the FTP. So this one's it's always good. It has always been good for me anyway. I'm going to use that one. I'm not going to set up a proxy. I'm going to let that run, configure apt, and all that good stuff. And usually about the time in this video, I would pause the recording or fast forward or something like that. So how's everybody been doing? I've been working a lot during the quarantine part because I'm not sure how they set it up, but my job as a maintenance technician was considered an essential business, even though it's not at a hospital or anything. So how's everybody been? All right, it's going to ask if we want to participate in the package survey. And pretty much all this does, it sends the list of the packages and stuff that we install or download. Hi, Reboot. It'll actually send a list of the packages and stuff that we download and use on our system back to Debian, so they can kind of do a popularity contest, or what they call, or whatever what they call that, for just to know what packages are being used the most. So actually, I am gonna participate in the package survey on this one. Most of the time I do usually participate in the package survey when I'm installing it on hardware, but I rarely ever do that if it's on a VM that I'm just going to blow away. So that's usually my rule of thumb anyway. I try to help out. I try to help out when I can. For here, I'm not going to install the Debian desktop environment. I'm not going to install GNOME or any of this other stuff. The SSH server, I can install that later, but you know what? I'll do it now. And since I'm not installing an environment at all, you see how small the list of packages are. I'm going to let that run and check chat again. Sorry to disappoint you, Sam. Well, that's terrible that you lost your job, Walter. But I'm glad you found you a better one. Even though you have to move. I mean, but then again, that might be all for the best too. All right, the installation is complete. We can hit download again. Sorry, not download. We can hit continue. I'm going to finish that out, and I'm going to go pull out the USB stick. And I have the grub screen up, and you can tell that it's Debian testing because when the kernel version flashed up, it was 5.6. And for some reason, it's not wanting to recognize my keyboard. Now, Walter, I've tried Fedora a few times, and while I did like it, I've always just used Ubuntu and Debian, and really just all the I'm used to apt. but when I did try Fedora, and I ran OpenSUSE for about 6 months or so, and it was pretty solid. This thing's gonna be weird. And it's being weird. So, Tiva, let me hit the reset button, and I'll see if I can get us to a prompt anyway. Well, that's good to hear, Walter. I appreciate it. Yeah, I did reboot. I did see that about Inkscape. That's pretty cool. I think it was what 17 years in the making. Okay, it looks like I'm missing some firmware, but for some reason it's not wanting to. This worked fine on my main machine. That's weird. Yeah, Bruce, I think I'm going to try that because this thing has been acting funny. I'll tell you what, yeah, I think I am going to do that. I'm just going to unplug the keyboard and try to reset again. So reboot, you had a Pi 3? That's pretty cool. I would. That's actually on my wish list. I wish I'm probably going to buy a Pi for before long. Still not wanting to do anything. Tell you what, I'm just going to unplug out of the KVM, plug straight into the computer. Give me just a second, guys. Okay, I am plugged directly in the USB ports, and I'm still getting nothing. And what's so weird is this was working right before I went live. Yeah, Walter, I play a little bit, not much. I can coax some halfway decent sounds out of one, but not really well. I'll tell you what, I'm going to unplug the KVM and reset one more time. All right, we're going to try this again. It's so weird that it works perfectly when you're not recording something. Story of my life, I guess. I agree, Reboot. Things always crap out when you're trying to show it off. All right, we are back to the grub screen. Let me change my inputs because I'm actually running off the HDMI output of the secondary PC. Well, that kind of stinks. Well, maybe I'm fighting a bad USB port. Let me check my other stuff on the other PC real quick and make sure that I've got another Debian install. Yeah, Reboot. That was actually the first song I ever learned was "Zombie" by the Cranberries. Well, "Zombie" was actually the first bass line that I learned, rather not necessarily guitar. I'm going to try it one more time before I just put in my Debian stable one. Yeah, Reboot. I agree. I really did it. I really did like Babel's version as well. Next time I do this, I have got to remember to unplug this other monitor from my main PC because every time I reset it, it defaults back, and I got to change inputs every time. It's kind of annoying. Okay, so I guess that did not work. That's really cool, Reboot. I'll check that out. Oh, Walter, I'm actually over here in Alabama. I'm in western Alabama anyway. Dang, I got to watching the chat and wasn't paying attention. One more time. All right, we're going to boot off my Debian stable USB stick now. It's bad. I'm 26 minutes into the stream and haven't got anything installed yet. All right, so let's start the installation again. English, United States, American English. Roll Tide, Walter. I appreciate y'all guys hanging out with me here. This is kind of aggravating. So at least having you guys talk to is kind of making me not want to pull my hair out anyway. But then again, if I was not live streaming, this would have worked probably. All right, so we're going to leave the host name as Debian. We're going to continue there. We're not going to put a root password. I'm going to call it Mike, and password for me. And Central Time Zone. We're just kind of blowing through this anyway. Let's see. Yeah, I guess we could do it manually. So we're going to create a new partition. Let's make it, I don't know, 600 megs. Honestly, I cannot remember how this was done. I cannot remember, to save my life, how they did this on Debian. All right, so we are now installing the base system. Yeah, I was going to do the manual partitioning, but I could not remember how to get the ESP to show up properly. So So sorry, Sam. I could not remember on right here, but I'll probably do another video later and actually do a manual partitioning scheme. I'll just have to play around with it, and I don't want to bore you guys to death. See, Pseudo Reboot said, I remember the days when Bill Gates said 128 megs is all the storage you'll ever need. Now we're lucky to fit a text file in that storage. Yeah, that's yeah. This has got the file sizes here have gotten ridiculously huge. Yeah, sorry, I wasn't talking much right then. Well, yeah. Oh, back in that day, 4 megs was enough, but I mean, with everything being, you know, with the progression, 4 megs became way not enough. And Reboot, I agree with you. 4 gigs is, you're lucky if 4 gigs is enough. I mean, for an older laptop, I mean, 4 gigs is pretty great, especially if you're using something really small, as far as like a Linux distro, like something with LXDE or LXQT or something like that. Yeah, that 4 gigs is great on that. Or a tiling window manager. All right, we're gonna hit continue, and we're gonna try this again. Let me pull out the uh, and changing inputs yet again. All right, and we have a login screen. Okay, this is pretty good now. So let's edit our sources.list. So let's get Vim and Git. Well, Reboot, that's pretty cool. I've never used LXQT without 3 gaps. Amen, Bruce. We have a screen. So now, I mean, if we do a, let's say, sudo apt update, and let's say we do apt show DWM, you see that the version is 6.1-5, and I can look, so we can actually go ahead and just install the dependencies for it, and go ahead and get the Xorg server and all that installed. And yeah, let's I guess we can just get busy now. So let's see, let's do sudo apt install libxft dev lib font lib font config 1 lib x11-6 lib Zenorama. Let's do suckless tools. If I can type today, let's see. Xorg x11 x server utils. The st term. Let's do Xorg and X server Xorg-dev, because I had trouble actually getting to a user interface without X server-Xorg-dev, because that was not a dependency of Xorg on Debian anyway. Now let's let that run. Yeah, sorry for the tiny text. I'm going to see if I can get that, remedy that once we get back to once we get to a desktop, because I'm actually capturing this on hardware, and so it's on a 25-inch 1440p screen, which has been scaled down a little bit, so it's actually a little larger than it really could be, but yeah, I've been playing around with DWM a little bit ever since I did my last Spectre WM video. I've been trying to play around a little with DWM, and you know, it's fun, but there's a on Debian there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it, and honestly the wrong way is not all the way bad, but it's not the quote unquote Debian way. So let's actually go ahead and get wget while we're at it too. So now we can either get DWM from Git or with wget. So if we get it with wget, which sorry, dad jokes are flying through my mind right now. So if we say wget dl.suckless.org/dwm/dwm -6.2.tar.gz, I believe that's right. If I get this right, just pulling from memory, I'm gonna kind of be proud of myself. Holy crap, it worked. All right, so we're going to make a directory called just home/bin, because in our dot profile file, let's look at that real quick. So let's say we have a line in here that says set path so that it says set path so that it includes user's private bin if it exists. So if bracket -d home/bin, so if home/bin exists, then put it in the path. So now we're going to, let's say, tar-xzf dwm, and that's done. So cd dwm. All right, and let's see if we can make it. Oh, I don't have build essential installed, so I know that's not going to work. So sudo apt install build essential. Sam, I actually tried BSPWM a while back, and I tried setting it up with I tried setting up BSPWM when I had LightDM on another system, and I got it to work, but it was a little bit weird because literally all of the documentation I could find for it said I needed to add the SXHKD daemon into the .xinit.rc, and I don't know, it was just kind of weird, so I wound up just making one and getting rid of LightDM and switching back and forth, swapping out XFCE and stuff like that for BSPWM, and it wound up working. Now let's make, and that worked. So now the Debian way will differ right here at this point, because about every other time you see this, you're going to say make and then sudo make install or something like that. So something where you call root access for installing the package. But since we now have 6.2, that's a different version than what's in the package manager, which is 6.1-5. So now what I want to do is actually add the binary that was just created to my home/bin directory, which is going to be on our path. Then we can call DWM in xinit.rc, and it'll work just like, and it'll work normally. So now we have if you look at the bottom here, let me clear the screen. I have a green DWM here. So what I want to do is actually go back home and go to my bin directory, and I want to ln-sf. So I'm going to make a symbolic link from home/DWM 6.2/DWM into home/bin. And you see I have a DWM symbolic link in my bin folder now. You can actually move the executable to the bin folder, but every time you run make or what have you, you're going to need to move it. You're going to need to move it back in there. So I just created a symlink so I can just, when I go to patch it, it's fine. Now let's do. Oh, I don't think I installed Xinit. Okay, Xinit was a dependency of Xorg. So now we can do vim x home/.xinit.rc. And let's go into insert mode and execute DWM. right colon WQ to write and quit, and now let's start X. Okay, that did not work. I may have to reboot because not found. Okay, it was not found, so it did not know to look because I had created the bin directory since then. So let's reboot. Sam, I actually chose the suckless tools. That way I would just have to download one thing from the website without having to make and install a bunch of different things all at once. So I can actually do the make and install while I'm in a desktop environment, and I can actually scale up the fonts. So y'all won't have to be looking at tiny text the entire time. I can't see right now, so I gotta change my inputs again. All right, and we are in DWM. So, and we actually just made the file and put the binary in the bin, in our home/bin directory. Sudo reboot, such a good command. I agree. So now we can do Alt P to get dmenu, and we can fire up ST if we'd like. And I believe you can do Alt. Okay. I'll tell you what, let's do sudo apt install xterm, because I'll tell you what, I'm just gonna go get my build of XT, which is actually just a forked and rethemed version of Luke Smith's. So let's do git. I'm just gonna make a directory called git, and then git clone https:// linuxdabbler/st. No. github.com/linuxdabbler/st. All right, so now we can do sudo apt remove st term. All right, so now let's go back to our bin directory. And let's say ln-sf home/git/st/st into home/bin. And now we have an st executable in our bin file, in our bin directory. So now if we actually go here, Alt P, st, I can scale that up. But as you can see, my fonts are weird because I was using the Ubuntu font, and that's not installed. So let's say cd git/st vim config.h. Much better. So is that a lot? Is that font size a lot better that everybody can see? All right, so now let's do Alt J. There we go. And so now let's do sudo apt install Firefox -esr. That way I can make sure I have the right sites and everything for when I download through the terminal. Yeah, in my stream preview, that's looking much better. So, yeah, that's actually the reason why I wanted to go ahead and get DWM installed with the Suckless tools from the package manager. That way, I can just uninstall those later, and have fonts that everybody can see. Now, if we do Alt P and do Firefox, and then Alt 9 to go to that workspace, because for some reason by default, Firefox will open on workspace on tag 9 rather. So let's do suckless.org. And let's do the Surf browser. And so if we get the download here and Surf 2.0 tar.gz. So now we can just do Alt Shift and enter again. So let's do Alt Shift and K to increase the font size, and we're going to do wget dl.suckless/surf-2.0.tar.gz. Let's do tar-xzf, and let's run make. I know we're not going to have all the stuff for surf. -4.0-dev. Yeah, sorry it's so bright. And now let's open up another terminal and do wget dl.suckless.org/tools/dmenu, and that is on version 4.9. dmenu-4.9.tar.gz. All right, so now let's go back over to our other terminal and Now let's make. And we have a surf binary. So let's go back to our bin directory. And we're going to ln-sf home slash surf 2.0 slash surf. Into home slash bin slash surf. And now we have one for surf. And we're going to make one for dmenu as well. So let's go back and tar -x zf dmenu. And now we have dmenu let's make that one, and we're good there. So if we just dmenu_run, we do have dmenu now. And so we can do sudo apt remove suckless. You know, I'm gonna clear the screen. It's getting a little too close to the bottom. Sudo apt remove suckless tools. All right. So what I really want to do here is actually just make another directory called suckless and just move all that stuff into it. So let's move dmenu 4.9 into, and then move, let's say, DWM into suckless, and move surf into suckless as well. And let's move st into home slash suckless. Now we can rm/r get, let's say, so now we need to go back into bin. And let's edit the address. So let's say rm dwm, and let's say ln-sf home slash suckless slash dwm -6.2 slash dwm into home slash bin slash dwm, and do the same thing. And now we need to do rm-st. So let's do ln-sf home slash suckless slash st slash st into home slash bin slash dwm. Oh, I messed that up. Slash st. Sorry, I messed that all up. I got on a roll. So now let's do ln-sf home slash suckless slash surf slash surf into home slash bin slash surf. All right, so everything should be working now. And let's do another one for dmenu. ln-sf home slash suckless slash dmenu in run home/bin/dmenu. And now we can do, oh, I messed that up. CD back into bin, and let's do rm dmenu and do ln-sf home/suckless/dmenu, and then do dmenu underscore run into home/bin/dmenu. Now we can do okay, this is being weird. This worked a while ago. Okay, maybe I'm not blinding you guys anymore. Sorry about that. Well, reboot. What I was doing was whenever you do make install, it tries to put the executable in user and your /user/local/bin, which is owned by root. So what I was trying to do was actually put it in the in my home/bin where it's not owned by root, but it's in the path. And that way it's not going to it, and that way the stuff that I install here would not interfere with anything that would get installed by the system, which is the quote unquote Debian way. So because if I go back into suckless and then do dmenu, I can run make, and then let's say I run make install. It's going to give me permission denied because it is trying to put it in user local bin. But for some reason it's saying command not found now. So if I do see, it's still not wanting to work. So what I may wind up doing here is just sudo apt install suckless tools. There we go. And now if we do Alt P, but yeah, surf works fine. And then let's say ST works fine. And of course DWM works fine because we have a desktop environment, or a window manager rather. But for some reason dmenu doesn't want to work, which is weird. You know, Reboot, I think you might have a point there. So let's do, let's remove dmenu, or the symbolic link anyway, and let's do ln-sf home/suckless dmenu 4.9 dmenu_run into home/bin/dmenu_run. And now it works. Thank you, Reboot. So if I get out of that and I say sudo apt remove suckless tools, and I still do Alt P. Okay, apparently that doesn't like that. Okay, so I'm going to try it again. Let's say dmenu_run. Path not found. ln-sf home/suckless/dmenu/dmenu into home/bin/dmenu. I might need to symlink the D menu path too. You're right, Reboot. So let's do what's up, buddy? Yeah, my son's here.
I was watching your stream.
You're watching my stream? All right, cool. Say hi.
Hi.
This is little man. He's 9. /bin/ oh. Okay, I just symlinked it all. So now let's see. Surf google.com. And we got D menu working. Thank you, Reboot. That was awesome. You were a gentleman and a scholar. Awesome. Thank you. So actually that wound up working pretty well. So just making sure that's gone. Yep, we're good. All right, so that's actually kind of sort of the Debian way to do that, where you actually the programs and stuff that you download from the internet, you don't install them to your system files or to your system. You actually just make it and put the binary in your path, and that's kind of the way that they tell you not to break Debian. But anyway, so that's kind of what I wanted to show. But one more thing, I kind of want to show you what I've got on my GitHub. If anybody would be interested in that, as far as the customizations that I've made for DWM. But I mean, the DWM bar is much like my Spectre WM bar, and there's just a couple of things I've done in config.h, and so I kind of took ST from Luke Smith and customized it a little bit myself, and then took DWM a little bit. Sorry, can't talk today. And then took Spectre DWM from DT and customized it a little bit, and it's been working pretty well. So if we actually if we go back into Suckless, and let's say I remove DWM 6.2, so let's say we will not have a desktop environment at all, or a window manager at all. So what I want to do is actually go to git clone https:// github.com/linuxdabbler/DWM. And now I can make. And then if we can Alt-Shift-Q and start X, I think I broke it. but that's okay. We can get it back. So let's say wget dl dot suckless.org /dwm dot 6.2 dash dwm dash 6.2 dot tar dot gz, and then let's say tar dash xzf dwm, and then cd into dwm make, and then we're back. Yeah, I probably should just rename DWM to DWM 6.2, but and that would have probably worked, but anyway, I just kind of wanted to show that off a little bit. So tell you what, let's just go over to, let's just fire up Firefox. Let's do Alt P and do Firefox-ESR. Alt 9 to go to that workspace, and let's go to github.com/Linux Dabbler. And here in my personal .files and my DWM, this one, I've added a few things here in my personal .files. I've got a bunch of wallpapers that I've gotten. I've borrowed a few of them from some famous YouTubers or what have you. But if you want to look through those, you're more than welcome to. My X resources, it's just pretty much setting my color schemes and stuff for Xterm and for your XVT. Bar action is for Spectre WM. I've already done a video on that one. My bash aliases, if you want to take a look at that, there's just some stuff I like to add to my bash RC. So I like to alias ... equals cd ... and alias q for exit. V for vim, H is cd home, alias capital C for clear, alias C is to cd into my .config directory. D I like to make into cd into my downloads, lowercase d, cd into my documents directory. And this one's something I've got, I made for myself. Every time that I wind up typing in a command that I should have used sudo before and it gives me, permission denied, I always say dang it. So I just made dang it the command. So dang it equals sudo space exclamation. And then alias pk equals sudo pkill, bash rc equals vim /bash rc, and nasbox equals the SSH command into my nasbox. The B menu is something I've been working on. I actually will put a bookmarks file in my with all the, it's something for Surf anyway, but I tried it out with Firefox most recently. So it will actually cat out my bookmarks in and pipe it through D menu. And the bookmarks is right here. So it'll cat that out and pipe that into D menu. And my DWM bar is much the same as my Spectre WM bar. And I actually put it on my laptop as well. So I made a very, very simple battery and battery status module to go in it. And P menu is just a D menu script for power. So it does a case statement, and it will do log out, shut down, reboot, and quit, or quit the menu rather. And Shuffman is my take on the man page shuffler that kind of got popular for a little while. So it would actually just ls user share man / man1, pipe that through sed, and then get rid of the .gz on out of all of them. Then shuffle it, take the first one, run it through xargs and man. Wall, I've gone over all this stuff before, as spectrewm.conf, of course, and wall would be my wallpaper changer, and weather.sh. So tell you what, let me swap off of this computer and go and start capturing on my desktop, and I'll show you a little bit more about that kind of stuff. Give me 1 second. Going to change back to this. And now, let me move the chat. Now my full screen desktop on that side. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, Reboot. I like that. Where you press escape twice to sudo the last command. I like that. And now also on this install of Debian with DWM, I did it the improper way. So I did the sudo make install. So most everything is actually in my, let's say I did cd into user local bin, and you see I have DWM, I have ST, and everything, excuse me, in this file here, along with my debinfo, which is my own little screen fetcher utility. It's pretty fast. DWM bar, which is just this bar up here, and I have hush, which is, I'm from Alabama. When people say hush, that means be quiet. So I have hush set for mute. Lock is my lock screen. PIA client. That's a symlink into the op directory. Wall, of course, and weather.sh. So if I'm going to show off wall, I have it set to super control and B, and all that does is just shuffle through my wallpaper directory. Let me get rid of all this. I really like landscape wallpapers, if you can't tell. But anyway, I just want to take a second and thank you guys for coming in and watching my stream. This has been the first stream I've ever done, and it's been pretty fun actually. A little aggravating when things were not working, but yeah, it is what it is. Now the wallpapers, actually, I got some of those from DT's wallpapers on GitLab. Others I just got them, just cool looking wallpapers off Google searches and stuff. Or I would see something on r/Unix porn or something, and the wallpaper would catch my eye. I would download it, convert it to a PNG, and put it in my wallpaper directory. But anyway, that's really about all I've got for today. So I mean, if you guys just want to hang out a little while and chat, we can, or But that's really about all I've got. I was just going to show off how to install DWM the Debian way, and I figured I would try to do it in a live stream because I've never done a live stream before, and well, why not? Well, thank you, Bruce. I appreciate it. Yeah, little man came in here earlier. He said he said he was watching the stream. I'm kind of surprised he wasn't trolling some people in the chat. He's kind of notorious for that. Yeah, you're right. I guess you're right, Reboot. I guess it is kind of good to have an unedited version. So, I mean, I so I know I made some mistakes that some other people would make too. But I mean, I know some people who would think the exact opposite as well. So, chop it up, cut it down, make it a 5 or 6 minute video, and give me my information, and that kind of stuff. But now one thing that I was going to do too was on this secondary system. I built it a couple of years ago, and I had Windows installed on it for little man to play games and stuff on. I gave him my GTX 980. I put a quad core 8 thread first gen Ryzen processor in it. Had I was gonna put 8 gigs of RAM in it, but I wound up buying 16 because I got it on sale. And so yeah, he had a sweet little gaming rig. And then when all of his friends started getting Xboxes, he kind of wanted an Xbox, and I said, well, you haven't proven to me that you can handle both, so you kind of have to choose. And I've actually been using that computer as a secondary one for my little videos since. And another thing too, I have had some pretty bad luck in the last couple of months. I'll show you real quick. I'm gonna go back to my intro scene so everybody can see a little better. This used to be my main. This used to be my motherboard, and it died, and I could not return it because I bought this trying to save $50, and I bought it used. No warranty on used components. So, if you're in the market for a motherboard and you find one used that's $50 off, spend the $50 and get a new one. But yeah, this one is this is the standard ATX version. Sorry, I'm holding it kind of close. But yeah, this is the standard ATX version. It's a little bit larger than a mic head. And it's it has been it was great when I first got it. It was great. But yeah, it started giving me issues, random freezes. It would just die every once in a while. And Debian testing didn't, well, this board or whatever did not like Debian testing. I actually ran Arch on this board for a while. And one day I came in and my computer was off. And I asked the wife, did you turn off the computer? She said, no, I haven't been in that room in a couple days. And it randomly died. I troubleshooted for a while. I cleaned off the processor. I put in some different RAM, tried a different graphics card, tried a bunch of different things. I was able to get to the BIOS once. After I went back and did all of the same steps again, I never got back to the BIOS. I swapped out the BIOS battery. I cleared CMOS numerous times, and yeah, it didn't work. And Samuel, I generally try to do the same thing because this laptop right here, I bought it used on eBay. This thing has been solid, rock solid. It is a ThinkPad T420, and I have not had a minute's trouble out of this laptop. It has run every Linux distribution that I've ever put on it beautifully. It has run the newest version of Arch. It has run old versions of Ubuntu. It has run, just some crazy off the wall stuff. It even runs FreeBSD beautifully. And I bought that laptop for $90. I had a solid state drive kind of kicking around from when I fixed someone else's computer a while back, and then I worked on somebody else's computer and fixed it, and they gave me the 1 terabyte drive out of it. And so I had 2 drives to put in it. So it's got 1 1/4 terabytes of drive space on it. It's got 8 gigs of RAM because I had a 4 gig stick kicking around here, and I was given another 4 gig stick when I helped my friend move, and we started cleaning out drawers and stuff, and I found this DDR4 SODIMM, and he said, "You can have that if you want it." I said, "I will definitely take it." So it's got 8 gigs of RAM in it now. It works beautifully. And it's great. Right now it's running Debian testing off of the same USB key. I installed it with the same USB key that failed on the desktop. So go figure. Yep, and Bruce, to your point, said all of your stuff is used on a limited income, and you've had good luck on eBay. I've had really good luck on eBay, except for once. Most every time when I buy stuff from eBay, it'll just get here within 3 or 4 days, and something that'll tell me it's a week out. It'll be here in 3 or 4 days, and I live in pretty rural Alabama. I mean, if I were to take a webcam outside and show you guys where I'm at, it's kind of in the country. I have an asphalt road that 100, a couple hundred yards or so from the house, but I always make the joke that you got to pump sunshine out here. Sun usually only comes out on a Wednesday. Actually, Walter, I haven't tried any of the Ubuntu 2004s yet. I was planning on making a video going over the Ubuntu proper and going over Xubuntu or the XFCE version, because I'm an XFCE guy at heart. I'm kind of just having I think this may just be kind of an affair with window managers at the moment. But actually, I have not tried 2004 at all. My work schedule has just been absolutely nuts. Oh yeah, I can definitely give you some country directions to get here. It is crazy. Well, you turn off the paved road. You you make it right at the stump. It's got the barbed wire in it, where the old church used to be. You know, that kind of stuff. And Walter, you say you guys have. I'm sorry, Bruce. You said you guys have 200 water customers. That there's a the water authority is probably only about 5 or 6 miles from my house, and they do not play. I mean, some people. I've talked to some people who live just in the next county over, and they they'll forget to pay their water bill that month or what have you, and it's fine. You know, they just double up next month, and and it's fine. Where I'm at, they do not play. They Your bill's due on the 10th. If it's not paid by lunch on the 20th, it's shut off that afternoon. They don't play here. Bruce and Walter. Actually, I've been thinking about giving Endeavor a try as well. Let's see. Let's take another look at the chat. Reboot. This is some stuff I missed, I guess. Reboot said you have a micro ATX build or a computer rather. Uh, Reboot. Did you build yours or did you buy yours? So, quick question, guys. If y'all liked watching me struggle with this, would y'all like to see me struggle doing this on Arch? Because I have way less experience on Arch. Even though I did do a I did even though I did do an Arch build an Arch Linux build guide a few months ago, but I have way less experience on Arch. If y'all were entertained by this, maybe you'd be entertained by that too. It's kind of all right, Walter. I will definitely keep it in mind. When I get some more time off, I'll try it out. All right, reboot. I'll do Arch the Arch way, and we'll do a suckless install whenever I get some time. Cause this has been a lot of fun, and uh, so if you guys want, I'll do whatever window manager you want or desktop environment or whatever. No Arch Vi scripts. All right. Oh, install it with GNOME. GNOME. All right. I'm not a well, Walter. I'm not a real big GNOME guy, but I will. I'll try it out and see. So tell you what. Uh, let's see. There's 15 people in here now. 14, something like that. Uh, I don't know, majority rules. What would you guys say as far as environment? Walter, actually, Joe Collins has got a video on his channel talking about how he had been gnomed, and it's been it's got a ton of views on it, and he went through his whole thought process on why he didn't like gnome at first, and then he went through and started using it when 1804, I think, started coming out with, and it was just with the GNOME desktop, and he used it, started liking it, and been using it ever since. The LXQ reboot, you say LXQT or XFCE. Let's see. Reboot say fruit with all 14 window managers. Let's see, Samuel. I'm definitely open to trying OpenSUSE. I ran it for about 6 months before I ever started my channel, and I tried Leap and Tumbleweed during that time. And uh, Leap was a little easier to get the at that time anyway. It was easier to get the proprietary NVIDIA drivers going. But since I'm all AMD now, it'll be a little easier. And I was thinking about doing a doing an install and a kind of a quick overview of OpenSUSE at one point, and just to make a troll wallpaper as soon as I go from this view that you guys are looking at now to the desktop view, and it would be just a green, just a an OpenSUSE green screen with some white text or whatever, and it would have 5 commas and then the uh, OpenSUSE logo, and it just because comma 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 chameleon. I thought about doing that, but I don't know. I kind of then again, I just said this on stream, so it's secret side of the bag now. Let's see. Now, Walter Arch is really cool. I've actually reboot. I've never installed Gentoo. I've always kind of just shied away from that. I did try actually installing Slackware once, and once I got stuck in the bad place with dependencies, I said no, I'm done. And Sam, you see you got a 5700 XT? I actually do too. I was using it, but I had the hardest trouble getting it to work in Debian because it was so new at the time. Anyway, I'm sure it would work fine now. And actually, this is the card I have, my 5700 XT. It's the Sapphire Pulse. This thing it's quiet, it's fast, it's great, but for some reason it was not wanting to work in Debian at one point, and I was having a hard time with it, and I had an RX 580 because when you do computer repair as a hobby, and you wind up getting stuff. People wind up giving you things, and I wound up Uh, yeah, I wasn't given the RX 580. They sold it to me for super cheap. So I wound up buying this Sapphire RX 580 for like $80, something like that. And I popped it in my system because I was having issues with the 5700 XT and Debian. Popped that in there. Been gravy ever since. But yeah, this right here is this room is actually a spare bedroom that we kind of converted because my wife is into making candles and stuff. So right now, what you see in the camera here is the cleanest part of the room. There's a table over here full of scents and stuff for candle making. Over here is a bunch of boxes for that are full of already made candles. Because we were going to start going to these. There's a place up close to Birmingham that we were going to start going. That's a good little drive from here, but you can set up booths and stuff and sell candles and stuff, and that's what my wife was wanting to do. And we were gonna take all that over there. So we called ahead, paid the money for the booth and everything, and then the COVID hit. So I have like 250 candles in boxes in this room, already already made up. They're scented. It smells like Kirkland's in here. Not even gonna lie to you. Oh, that's cool, reboot. Walter, I get my parts generally from Newegg or from Amazon, or if I'm if I'm buying something used, I generally go eBay. But yeah, Walter, I agree. That should be somewhere doing something. And probably my next day off, uh, I'll probably take the computer, take the RX 580 out, pop the 5700 XT in, and get to using it. But uh, at the time, I was just disgusted, so I popped that RX 580 in there, and that's been a month ago. So that's been that's been running ever since. And if you go back and watch a few of my videos, you'll see when I pull up a terminal in my little Deb info screen, it'll show GPU is an RX 580. So with I guess with my question earlier, I'm seeing LXQT, XFCE, Cinnamon, and Gnome. So, hmm, I was honestly I was kind of half expecting to hear a little KDE love, but honestly, I'm not a big KDE guy or a Gnome guy. I'm an XFCE guy at heart. So I mean, but Walter, you say you watched me, Joe, and Tyler. That's that's awesome, dude. See, Tyler. Oh yeah, I know you're talking. I know you're talking about. the last time I reboot and said KDE I can't stand, Sam says I only use KDE, and there's so much. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Tyler Tech, yeah, he has a great channel. And when it comes to environments and everything, everything's so subjective. I mean, because if I'm installing a full environment, I'm probably going to be installing XFCE, whereas some people really just do not like XFCE, and some people just love GNOME or love KDE or love Mate, and out of those three, Mate is my pick. But the one of the newer desktop environments that I haven't got to play around as much with as I'd like to is Budgie. Budgie has looks really nice, and I wouldn't mind giving that a shot in a video before too long as well. And say reboot. You say use KDE and ditch KWin for i3. That's really cool. And honestly, if I use KDE, I would probably try to do that and just so I can make a video about it. Yeah, I checked out Tyler's channel a while back. He's definitely a Fedora fan, and he has a great channel. And say Joe's the Ubuntu man, and I got you into Debian testing. And honestly, the main reason I use testing over stable right now is because my hardware's newer. That's really the only reason. And if I had, let's say, if I were still using my older computer, the one that I have actually just relegated to a little 4U server box down here that I bought, and I hooked up all my hard drives to it, and it's now my NAS box. I have that computer running Debian testing with no environment at all. So it's running just Debian server, and it's got Plex on it. It's got SSH, and I'm thinking about swapping it, changing it over to Proxmox, but I'm gonna have to have some time to do that, and just because I know almost nothing about Proxmox, and I would definitely need some time to get it done. Reboot, I actually did try that. I swapped out XFWM4 for i3, and that worked really well. Another thing I tried to do as well, I actually made a video on it. Instead of swapping over XFWM for i3, I just tried to get the bar in XFCE to work in i3, and that is and that's actually possible too. But changing the themes and everything from the XFCE bar is, you can probably get it working, but it's not great. So if you're gonna try that and get the XFCE bar working in i3, you're still gonna want to keep LX Appearance around. And say you even use DWM and KDE before you try ever using KWin. Now, Walter, are you talking about strictly Debian or really any Linux install? Because if you're just talking about Debian, I usually do the net installers. That way, the install takes a little bit longer, but there's no updates once you get done. And also, Walter, if you're talking about Debian as well, the uh, the live ISO, I've had, it's been a mixed bag for me, where sometimes they work, sometimes they would work on my hardware, sometimes they wouldn't. But also, Walter, for the Ubuntu, I'll if I'm not installing an environment, if I'm just putting it on a headless server or whatever, I'm gonna get the mini ISO, or I'm gonna get the there's a minimal ISO, and I think there's a mini ISO. Uh, Jay over at what's his channel name? LearnLinux.tv. I think that's right. Uh, he showed that off one time, and I went and found that ISO, and it works great. And same, that's a pretty good rule of thumb for QEMU and KVM net installs all the way. For physical sticks, they're full live ISOs. I could see that. That's a pretty good rule of thumb. Uh, Honestly, Walter, I've never met any of those guys. Uh, they are, well, they're in a completely different line of work in a completely different part of the country than me. My line of work has almost nothing to do with a computer. It is wrench turning, pretty much. And I do electrical work, hydraulic, pneumatic, mechanical, that kind of stuff. I carry a tool pouch, and I carry a tool pouch full of tools when I go to work. So if any of you guys were wondering, I'm not an IT guy by any stretch of the imagination. I'm a maintenance guy at a well, I don't want to say the company name, but I'm a maintenance guy at an automotive manufacturer that's not Mercedes. If you're wondering about Alabama. Sam said you just discovered Ventoy today. I'm gonna try to play with that a little bit too, because uh, I installed uh, I installed Wine and everything, and tried to get the multi boot that Chris Titus Tech showed off. Try to get that working, and out of the 11 ISOs I put on it just to try out or whatever, only 2 of them worked. So I'm gonna definitely give Ventoy a try. Reboot, you say you're a vision technician? That's really cool. I'm sure there's a lot of there's a lot of techniques and stuff that you know about that you could go right over my head with. And I bet there's some tools that you use that are just that would just look crazy to me. No, I don't work for BMW. That's actually I think BMW has a plant in it's close to the East Coast, I believe. Uh, a coworker I used to work with, he's not with us anymore. He has since left us and kind of went his own way. He used to work for BMW when he got out of the Navy. Reboot. I'm not sure what that video was called, but it's been a few months back, so I'm pretty sure he's made about 100 other videos since then. But I mean, it's I think it was like a master boot key or something like that. I forget what he called, like a master or ditch your USB or something like that. Vision technician is the posh way of saying window cleaner. Oh. Oh yeah, his videos are very well named, and he uses his tags really well too. So you can pretty much look up Chris Titus Tech USB and probably find it. All right, guys. Well, it's about 4:22 my time, so I think I'm gonna let this go until about 4:30 or so, and I'm gonna have to end it because my wife is gonna be getting off work, and she'll be getting home pretty soon, and we're gonna cook supper. It's or dinner rather, and with today, man, what's today? Monday? Darn, tacos are tomorrow night. But we're gonna be cooking supper here in a little while. They called you okay. They called you a floor tech when you were a janitor. Hmm. All right, later, Bruce. I appreciate you stopping by, man. Y'all have a good one. Be safe. Oh, yeah. I've been hearing some kind of crazy names, especially for people who like garbage men. They'll call them sanitation engineers, stuff like that. Or uh, but my favorite was probably off the Water Boy, the old Adam Sandler movie. So for the Water Boy was the water distribution engineer. Well, my job title is just maintenance technician. Say they called me a customer service agent when in my contract when I was tech support agent, so they could pay you less. That sounds about right, Sam. Yeah, because I actually used to work at I used to work at a big box store, big hardware store, and uh, my title when I first hired on was customer service associate, and I think I was making like $9 or something an hour at the time, which it was at that time was pretty decent, but which I think in 2007 that was about the going rate for somebody who was fresh out of school. And yeah, then when I worked there while I was going to school, and when I graduated, the job offers didn't come rolling in. So I stayed where I was at because I kept getting promoted. And uh, one of the senior managers out there thought I was going to be a lifer, and once they said that, I kind of had to. That really lit a fire under me to get out and actually use my degree. Reboot, you say you used to work for Sprint or Sprint slash Nextel back in the day. So what was your job description? Were you did you work retail? Were you working retail, or were you working on the back end, or were you working uh like in the support area or something like that? So anyway, I was meaning to ask this when I first started the stream because it just dawned on me. Is the picture quality any good? Because when I was looking at it in the little thumbnail part where you can get the preview in YouTube, it looked okay, and the audio was kind of okay, but so I figured, good enough. Let's try. So if you guys are watching on a larger screen or something like that, is the picture quality any good? Say funniest call ever was when you got a call and an American asks if they can speak to someone that's English, and me living in England, yeah, I've heard a lot of that. I've heard a lot of that kind of stuff. Especially especially from family members that'll call that'll call and they'll fall for these scams or whatever. And I'll get a call at least once a month saying, "Hey, this guy with this Indian accent, said his name is Bob. He said it's talking to me about my vehicle's warranty." It's like, your vehicle's been out of warranty about 5 years. Hang up. All right, Sam said it's a bit grainy if you want to be a snob about it. Well, I appreciate it. I'm actually using my little Logitech webcam, so it's video quality is not great. And I mean, one day maybe I'll get a proper camera and start streaming and making videos and stuff with it. But for now, I think that C920 does all right. Because I really just want to. I mean, I go back and look at all these other channels and stuff, and they've got so much. They've got so many things, and they got so much stuff. I mean, their audio passes through like 6 devices before it gets to their computer, or they have, uh, you know, a $3,000 DSLR camera that's being captured over from a clean HDMI out, and it's like, man, that's like a several $1,000 setup, and yeah, I'm no. My little Yeti works fine. My little 920 works fine. I'm gonna stay where I'm at for a while. Sam says, I'm glad I don't live in an English speaking country so I don't have to deal with those calls. Yeah, I'll agree with you, reboot. When they'll call requesting someone English, when somebody from London don't get much more English. Yeah, reboot up. You saw me struggling to type earlier. Sam, I've been thinking about trying that 60 FPS mode. I think the C920 will let me do 60 FPS at 720p, but if I do that, I'm going to probably redo the canvas size in OBS and probably just bring everything in. And then if I do that, I'll probably have to scale a good bit to get my full desktop to look right anyway. And then once I scale that down, I'll have to scale the fonts up. I'm thinking about trying that out just so I can get a clear picture with 60 FPS. But that's probably not going to be today. Well, and reboot, I'll tell you this: as an American, there's a there's a big difference in the dialects and stuff from different parts of the country, because an English accent to me, I know there's a big difference between a northern accent and a southern accent, and there's several different dialects uh, between the different parts of uh, between the different parts of Europe, or different parts of England rather. And there's what's the what's the word I'm looking for? There it seems, but to my untrained ear, they seem a little more subtle. Whereas I've been I've been in living here in America, and I don't hear how country I sound, or that's how they describe it to me. You sound so country, and you and the thing is with the Americans, there's this whole stigma saying that if you sound country, you sound uneducated or you sound stupid. And honestly, I have a fairly thick Southern accent, but it's not as thick as some, and it can get. I mean, I can get real country, but I, I mean, it can get a little foghorn leghornish. Say, I'm fixing to go out. I'm always like, what are you fixing? Okay. Well, that is a colloquialism for, especially in the southern states. When you say you're fixing to do something, I mean that's kind of it's a parallel for in the process of, and I'm fixing to do this. Well, or I'm about to do this. We're about to go out, or I'm fixing to go out. But yeah, that there's but honestly, the English language is kind of odd anyway, because I mean, there was this thing that I read as a child that really just kind of stuck with me about how weird English is, because English is the only language where that at that time, wherever what they were saying, English is the only language where you fill out a form by filling in the blanks, and you play and you recite plays and you play at recitals. You drive on parkways and park on driveways, and stuff like that. Dennis, I'm American by birth, Southern by the grace of God. But he might actually had that on a shirt. He also had one that said he loved grits. GRITS is an acronym standing for Girls Raised in the South. But anyway, guys, I think I'm gonna end it. I think I'm gonna end it about there. So, but anyway, I appreciate y'all coming in, hanging out with me while I worked on all this other stuff. But anyway, uh, y'all be safe. Have a good day. Appreciate y'all stopping by.